Welcome back to Dinkin and Dakin. I am your host, Prestwick Nickens. This is my co-host, RJ Rennie. It is a wonderful Monday night at Baylor University. Thanksgiving break is upon us, but RJ, why are you so depressed?
I won't talk about it.
Could it possibly be that I was right about everything that happened in last night's game except for actually picking the winning team?
It could be one of the reasons. The other reason could be what's posted right behind us.
Yes, the 37-8 beatdown that the Green Bay Packers took last night. But we will get into that later.
We scored more points than the Rams did against the Ravens. So
Yes, and let's go on to that game. Ravens and Rams.
literally concluded no more than an hour ago.
Yes, it was very ugly for the Rams, I should say. But Lamar Jackson had another thrilling performance with 15 of 20 yards passing, 169 yards through the air, and 5 touchdowns with 8 rushes for 95 yards.
Can you give me do you know his QBR? Do you have a QBR on the top of your head?
I do not. I did not write it down.
All right. Well,
It was probably close to 90
Here's what I'm going to say. 90.
or above.
90?
I don't know how the QBR works. I threw it out.
I don't know how QBR works either.
Shannon threw it out of the restaurant because it was too confusing, so I don't use it either.
All right,
Next
but for the
question.
fact, here's the thing though, the fact that this man threw as many incompletions as he did touchdowns, 15 for 20 for 169 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Yes.
You know who didn't throw for 5 touchdowns and who didn't have only 5 incompletions this week? Your boy Russie. My argument still stands as the front runner for league MVP being Lamar Jackson. He showed tonight that against a known defense, and it wasn't just him, Jim Harbaugh came out with a fantastic game plan, and for the little bit that I was able to watch the game, Jim Harbaugh... Am I not entertaining enough for you? Or are you just depressed that, Lamar Jackson's running away with the MVP as you speak and Russie is running in place?
Well, if you would finish up your lame argument so I could agree with you, but then also say this
one of the
race...
best defensive lines in football, and you're talking about the Los Angeles Rams. You were talking about Aaron Donald. You were talking about Dante Fowler. You were talking about the new addition of Clay Matthews.
I think
And
the
then that
best...
secondary that now consists of Jalen Ramsey. What is not to like about that Rams defense? That Rams defense that had been solid all of last year until they got to the Super Bowl. I mean, only giving them 13 points to the Super Bowl is pretty good. In fact, their offense wasn't able to back them up. But that is for another day. Lamar Jackson poked more holes in them than a strainer. He shredded them worse than we got shredded. Like, the cheese graters were out in Santa Clara. Like, it was bad. But this beatdown was even worse than that. They put up 40 points for the second time in 3 weeks. No, scratch that. 3 weeks in a row. They put up 49 against the Bengals, 41 against the Texans, and now 45 against the Rams. Bengals, we expected that. But then you come out against the Texans and the Rams, two known teams, well, the Rams don't have much of a playoff chance. But the Texans, leaders of the AFC South, most likely playoff bound, and you just wallop them like that. And I will give credit to John Harbaugh. He neutralized Aaron Donald. He absolutely neutralized him. Double-teamed him all game. Throughout the first 3 quarters, Aaron Donald did not have a single time.
You would think that double-teaming a guy like Aaron Donald would be second nature at this point.
Yeah, it would be second nature, but also you usually don't have other linemen that can take those on the matchups one-on-one. But the way that Lamar Jackson was able to elude pressure and make throws, the stats show it. 5 incompletions, 5 touchdown passes. I don't know what more evidence you want about the MVP right now. Mahomes did it last year, was just throwing nothing but bomb touchdown passes. He was making plays we'd never seen before, and this is just a new element of NFL football that we're seeing from Lamar Jackson.
Well, you make a lot of very compelling arguments, but I would remind you that his passing yards were only 165 yards. So it's not like he threw for 300, but he didn't need to because the running game was going very well. Also, 15 carries for 111 yards for Mark Ingram. They had the running game going from the jump. I know that's a basketball reference, but I guess from kickoff.
From the opening kickoff.
From kickoff. And also, the Rams offense could do absolutely nothing. Jared Goff was intercepted by guess who? His former teammate, Marcus Peters. Jared Goff, he should be arrested because he stole $40 million from the Los Angeles Rams. But that is a topic for another time. I would like to remind the public that Russell Wilson is not that far off in this race because...
But you're saying he's
Because Lamar Jackson has to go up against the 49ers next week. And guess who went up against them yesterday?
Quarterback who's not currently in the MVP talks right now.
But the bad man, as you call him, and I call him, because I do like Aaron Rodgers, and most of my hate comes just to see this man be depressed. But I do like Aaron Rodgers.
I was losing it last night. That whole lot was full of nothing but a bunch of haters. But then again, there was not much to like about last night's game.
But I'm saying Russell Wilson, he is still winning games, as he always does. He leads that team, and honestly, in 40-mile-per-hour winds that he had to go through in Philly, he put up more yards. All being that his completion percentage was atrocious, but he did all he needed to win because Carson Wentz was also pathetic as well. But I do believe that if Russell Wilson is needed to put up big numbers, he will. Mm-hmm. But the game did not require for it. Lamar Jackson just happened to have 5 touchdowns tonight. And also 95 rushing yards. And also he could not get in the end zone because he fell, which was very unfortunate because that would have cemented one of the most incredible seasons we have seen. But anyway, I will give it to you. He has become the number one guy to win MVP, and it is his to lose. And San Francisco next week will be the determining factor on whether or not he keeps the lead against Russell Wilson.
I do find it pretty interesting that you put up this massive argument last week, and I will say my argument was kind of more for comedic purposes or anything else.
Yes.
But, I mean, yes, Russell has choked in the playoffs before. He's also made some very incredible plays. The week before that said Super Bowl when he came back from a 16-0 deficit against the Packers and was able to knock them off in overtime. And the year before, when he was able to take home when the Legion of Boom helped him take home the Super Bowl against Peyton Manning's unstoppable force.
Mind you, that was a second-year Russell Wilson, so he wasn't even his best. This is the best we have seen him.
This is probably the best we have seen Russell Wilson, but literally what we're seeing out of Lamar Jackson is what we saw out of Russell Wilson in those first couple years in the league.
I think it's better. I think it's we've never seen this before since Michael Vick, and it might be better than Michael Vick.
You're right. I'm seeing what Russell was doing when he first came into the league, but being done at a higher level. And I just want to bring this up real fast. Russell Wilson's stats from the past game against the Eagles: 13 of 25, so not even above 50%.
Yes,
like about 51. 200 yards.
Mentioned his atrocious 50%.
200 yards, only 31 more yards than Lamar Jackson did on on 3 less attempts, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. So as far as the numbers are concerned, they're way better statistical showing for Lamar Jackson on a better defense.
I would love you to pull up the season comparisons because I believe Russell Wilson has. I guess he might not have as many touchdowns now because Lamar put up 5 tonight, but I will be willing to bet that their numbers are very similar going into Week 13.
We talked about Lamar Jackson, but we didn't talk about the team that was on the other side of the ball here.
I think we should save that for another day.
Well, no, I want us to say a little bit about it.
Okay.
Because before we completely disregard the sport.
This man didn't even watch really any of the game because he had his other things.
I'm gonna be frank. I'm shooting another podcast. I'm a busy man. We're in college.
He didn't even watch the whole game, so he doesn't
know what happened. The parts that I watched were very impressive.
And the parts you also watched from the opposing side was the only points that they scored. And what did I say? Greg Zuerlein might be the MVP of the Rams offense. He might because he put up the only points.
Honestly, that special teams unit is still we just saw a battle of the two teams with the 2 best special teams units in the league, with the punter Sam Cook and the kicker Justin Tucker on the side of the Ravens, and you got Greg the Leg Zuerlein and Johnny Hecker on the side of the Rams. Mm-hmm. But this game didn't come down to special teams. This came down to which team was just better, and this is a Rams team that, from a roster standpoint, is better than their team last year. The team that went 13, scratch that, the team that went 12-4, the team that was the number 2 seed in the NFC last year. Number 4 overall record. Scratch that, I think number 3, because the Patriots were the only ones that were below that. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs were. The Patriots are actually number 4. So the number 3 team in the league last year. You get all the way to the Super Bowl. Granted, they were bailed out, but we're gonna move past that. Actually, NFL history will show that they were in Super Bowl 53. And what did they do? They threw up a duck. And I will go so far as to say that is when we saw the decline of Sean McVay and the Rams.
I disagree.
Because, well, here's the thing. In that Super Bowl, which I did watch, you can't say that I didn't watch that like you're pointing out today.
I don't know how many people actually were paying very close attention for how boring that Super Bowl
exactly.
was.
Like the fact that someone would actually watch that and actually analyze it goes to show some dedication. But Jared Goff did not look comfortable. Maybe that was defensive pressure, which the Patriots defense this year has gotten a lot more warm-up games. So they fine-tuned things against offenses that really haven't put up much against them. And they've definitely made a better defensive unit than they had last year. But Jared Goff, he wasn't comfortable in the big spotlight. The running game was not moving. And the defense was doing well. They got an interception, I believe, on Tom Brady. But when it came down to the wire, they didn't stop him. Same thing happened yesterday in the Packers game. When it came down to the wire, they had nothing. Zero answers. And the offense wasn't moving the ball. Literally, the way the Packers played yesterday was exactly how the Rams played in the Super Bowl last year.
I love the relevancy.
The only difference, it was very relevant. It was pitiful. The only difference is that the Patriots sucked that game as well.
Well, you make a very compelling case, but I would remind you that there was a play in that Super Bowl where Jared Goff did make one fabulous read and had, I cannot remember who, but it was a touchdown.
Brandon Cooks?
Yes, and Jason McCourty came across the field and made an incredible play that would have changed that game.
It was a late read. The reason Jason McCourty got to that football is because Brandon Cooks had to stand for probably close to 2 seconds at the back line of the end zone waiting for that pass to get there. It was a late read by Jared Goff, and that gave McCourty.
That is totally fine, but it was still a great break on the ball, and he made a great play.
It was.
However, the Rams and McVay, they were exposed in the Chicago game, where Jared Goff threw 4 interceptions, or it might have even been 5. I don't know, but that was the blueprint that the Patriots were able to use in the Super Bowl to stop that offense, and we saw it again tonight. The Ravens used that same exact blueprint, and Jared Goff could do nothing. And it doesn't help that Todd Gurley has arthritis in his knees, and he has regressed as a runner because of that. It doesn't help that Jared Goff cannot make reads by himself, and it doesn't help that their offensive line is not as good as it once was, and the Ravens' defensive line is all over him at all points of the game. However, this team, with the talent it has on defense, is kind of like the Bears, but not as extreme, because if you have a defense who's playing the entire game, they're going to get tired and they are going to be exposed. But this game was a little different because they were exposed from the jump, because it's very hard to contain Lamar Jackson.
The jump. You are really eager to get to basketball, aren't you? You are very eager to get to basketball.
Yes.
But anyway, I'll finish talking about the Rams with this, and the fact that they started off 3-0. A lot of teams started off at 3-0, and then after that, a bunch of them fell off.
A lot of teams started.
Like the Packers started off 3-0, and then they lost to the Eagles.
That's unfortunate for them.
It was very unfortunate. It was very, very poor play calling.
Oh.
But after that, teams had the Rams' number. Like they lost. I don't think they lost 3 straight, like the Cowboys did, but they fell off and went. And since then, they've been battling to keep a record over 500, which currently they don't. They're 5-6 right now.
I think the Rams are now finding themselves in a very, very similar position as many teams in the NFL are right now. They lack a quarterback to be successful. They do have a winning record.
They're 6-5, but you're right.
They lack a quarterback to be successful, and like I said, Jared Goff needs to be put in prison for stealing $40 million at the beginning of this season, because he has looked absolutely atrocious.
Sean McVay's magic is probably up. Other coaches have found out that, if we mix up the defensive calls and make Goff actually have to make reads by himself, and McVay can't tell him what he sees and what he's supposed to do, then you can actually stop that offense. And an offense that has a bunch of weapons, but as we see with the Cowboys, and I think we can transition into our next topic, you have the weapons everywhere. Offense, defense, have you. But if you can't get someone to get them the football, they're useless. That was the problem with the Browns to start this year.
I think a
problem that the Browns are now overcoming.
I think they also lack a number one receiver. I think they have a lot of number two receivers, but they don't have that one guy that
If Cooper Kupp's not a number one receiver, he's borderline. Because that is a really good receiver.
Well, I did see a catastrophic drop that turned into an interception late in that game. But that could have just been, screw it, we're already out of this game.
It doesn't matter at that point. You're already down by 30.
Yeah, exactly. But I would take a lot of receivers over Cooper Kupp at this point as number one. I think they need either a physical guy like Julio Jones or a flashy guy like Odell Beckham Jr. or just anyone else that
a decent route runner that can got some speed. That's what
Cooper
Kupp brings him. He's just not a very big size.
He's their route runner, but he lacks the size and I don't want to say physicality to be a number one that can take on the best corner.
I don't know. I mean, he's showed some signs of life. The dude. I wouldn't say there's anything about him that's not physical. There's no wide receiver in the NFL that's more physical than Julian Edelman. And what does I hate to say? The dude throws his body around like he doesn't care about it. Like he plays football like he doesn't care if he's dead by the time he's 40.
That's fine.
But as far as Cooper Kupp's concerned, he's not shying away from contact either. Dude tore his ACL last year, coming back and is still playing at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
He's been one of the few bright spots of that team.
It doesn't change the fact that he was held to 6 catches for 37 yards in this game.
Goes to show a defense that now consists of Marcus Peters and already had a great secondary. Now a secondary that has Eric Weddle, that's flipped. Eric Weddle's on the Rams. From the Ravens.
Right. They have Peters and Earl Thomas.
That's a secondary and a defensive front. And a linebacking core that used to contain Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs and now has moved on from that. The linebacking core seems to be their weakest area, but they still have people like Tyus Bowser and Patrick Owasu that are manning that linebacker core. A powerful defense. That's why this game coming up this week against the Ravens and the Niners will be very fun to watch because we saw the pass rush with apparently Aaron Rodgers doesn't like Bosa's, but then again most quarterbacks won't.
Apparently Aaron Rodgers lacks anything. He doesn't like anything because every team that has come.
Isn't it great when you can fall on a soft cushion that are the New York Giants?
I mean, I might even pick the New York Giants because that's just who I am at this point.
Do it. I dare you. I dare you to pick the Giants. I 100% dare you.
And also, let's just point this out there. He cannot say the word disrespect today because of that back there. So
we were disrespected.
I have the floor with anything that happened back there, and he cannot say anything to challenge because you have the score right there.
I don't have to say anything to challenge it. I admit when something bad happens. I'm not in complete denial of when something bad happens. Oh, well, would you see the good stuff that happened here? I mean, at least he had one throw. That was a catch by Jimmy Graham. That I will say.
Guys, you should have seen his Snapchats to begin. Before this game. You should have seen all of the hype of through the bye week of how they were going to go up to Santa Clara and beat the brakes off the 49ers.
This whole game was hype. There's a reason it was on prime time.
And how it was going to determine the NFC. And guess what? It did. And your Packers, they were exposed. They might even be the fifth. They might not even be the 5th best team in the NFC at this point because the Vikings might have just surpassed them.
The Vikings have a date with your boy Russie.
Hey. First Cousins and Rusty can battle out all they want. It might even end up in a tie, and I wouldn't even care. Let's move on.
No, you 100% would.
Let's move on. Let's talk about the Cowboys. So everyone knows.
All right, before we start, is it just me, or does it seem like Gillette Stadium's in this weird weather dome that every time a game is played there, it's a torrential downpour? The same thing happened when the Browns went there, and the same thing happens again when the Cowboys go up there. 2 games where teams could go in and maybe put up a fight. The weather comes in and screws over the opponent.
Well, I mean, it usually is just cold. It usually just dry and cold, but we've seen rain.
It won't stop raining over there.
Yeah, it's tough. it is very, very tough. But let's go into the Cowboys and Patriots game. So we all know.
I'll give you the floor on this one. We've talked about the Packers and the abysmalities. We don't really have to talk about them because it was primetime. You watched the game. You saw what happened.
Yep,
Enough
exactly.
said. So let's
All I will say though is porn star Jimmy was Jimmy G that game, and he did a good job. And George Kittle on a broken leg.
I'm telling you right now.
He burned that second.
No question, George Kittle is the best tight end that we have in football right now.
On one leg.
Because not only is he a great pass catcher, we saw that in him torching our secondary, but
on one leg.
The dude is a fantastic blocker.
On
one of the big reasons that we get it. He had a broken ankle.
On one leg.
Can you let me finish?
No. I have the floor. You can be quiet. We don't.
But he's a great run blocking tight end as well. It's an aspect of the game that most of them don't have. You either have blocking tight ends like the Ravens do, or you have catching tight ends like the Ravens do.
Yeah, someone needs to stop those tight ends for the Ravens, or they're not going to beat that team.
Tight end rating, tight end catches, tight end touchdowns, and tight end yards for the Ravens, all first placed. Wide receivers, dead last in all those categories.
Tough.
Might be different now because the Marquise Brown, or Hollywood Brown, I should say, has some really stands a touchdown this year. But yeah, the tight ends are definitely weapons over there in Baltimore.
Him and First Cousins might be partying tonight. Who knows? Let's move on to the Cowboys and the Patriots. I have my notes right here. I'm just going to read off a few stats. We have Dak Prescott, 19 of 33, 57% completion, 212 yards, and 1 interception, no touchdowns. Tom Brady, 17 of 37, an abysmal 46%.
Wait. Yeah, 17 of 37?
I need to finish, and you just interrupted me again. I'm reclaiming my time. Anyway, 46%. Completion, 109 yards, and a touchdown. We had Sony Michel come out of hiding this game, 20 carries, 85 yards, and how fitting that it was against the Cowboys, right? It seems that they always give up big rushing yards to decent running backs or even great running backs, as we saw with Dalvin Cook. And Zeke also returned to his former self. 21 carries for 86 yards. Should have been closer to 35 because why would you throw in those conditions? But, there were drops. I couldn't find the total numbers. I think it was closer to 20. But I don't think it was tough for both teams. But wide receivers of Dallas, they're the better wide receivers. They got to make those plays. And bottom line, Tom Brady had the touchdown pass to the rookie. Yes. Dak Prescott had the interception where he threw it just behind Amari Cooper to where Stephon Gilmore could leap in front and make the interception.
I don't know if that's a nickname that you just said right there, but it might stick. I think you just accidentally said Stephon Gilmore, and that might actually stick.
Yes, it will. He put the handcuffs on Amari Cooper, sentenced him for 0 catches on 1 target, and the 1 target was an interception.
And then he got targeted again, and he dropped I want to say it dropped the pass, but it just happened to be.
I apologize. 2 targets, no catches, 1 interception, 1 drop, L.
Yeah.
Which is very sad.
Stephon Gilmore serving them hot L's.
But, yeah. It never looked like Dallas had any shot, even when they were driving at the end of the game. And I cannot trash Dak other than there were 2 or 3 other throws that I thought should have been intercepted. One to Jason Witten where Stephon Gilmore leaped in front of Jason and dropped the interception, and then the interception that caromed off Witten's hands, which shouldn't really be his fault, but it was also another interception. And then I think there's another overthrow that McCourty just could not get to. But other than that, and also other than deciding, maybe I should put on a glove on my throwing hand after a quarter and a half, when you've been practicing the entire week, knowing that it was going to be a torrential downpour and 40-mile-per-hour winds, to maybe I should put a glove on. Maybe that would help my throwing. But other than that, he did his best. And I really wasn't going to trash on him. But then I saw something on Instagram. You know what that thing was? Dallas. 6-1.
This, yeah.
against teams below 500. In those games, Dak Prescott, numbers up here. Against teams that are above 500, he is 0-4. What gives? Is it coaching? Maybe. But I know a guy, number 9, who was never 0-4 against above 500 teams.
At least pulled off 1 or 2 wins.
Yeah, at least 2, and some improbable wins against an undefeated Peyton Manning team, undefeated Drew Brees team. He beat Brett Favre a few times.
He managed to get it done when he needed to.
Anyway, 6-1, 0-4. Your response?
I watched that game yesterday, and I was rooting as hard as I possibly could for the Cowboys. A team that I don't usually root for unless
also,
they...
just real quick, I know I sound
I
like
am reclaiming my time.
Just
boom!
Just real quick, you don't get to speak because of that whiteboard. Zip your mouth. Just really quick, I know I sound like I'm being a hater, but like, I'm as upset as him because I really want the Cowboys to be a Super Bowl team. And with all this talent, they should be a Super Bowl team, but we are in this position where they are 6-5, and the Eagles are literally only a game back and have an easy schedule coming in.
Somehow the Eagles are 1 game back, and they have played some of the most atrocious football that I have seen. Are you kidding me, Philadelphia? Hey, if you can hear this, fix something. Carson Wentz, are you trying to look like a one-hit wonder?
Jared Goff has already shown that.
Yeah, you're turning to Jared Goff right now. You had 1 year. You were MVP caliber. Then you got hurt. Magic Nick comes in, saves the day, wins Super Bowl. You get the job back. They could have gone with the guy they knew had success. But you went and stuck it up your team.
Not to mention they paid him a lot.
They gave you a contract, and what have you done this year? Nothing. For the longest time, you had Atlanta's only win. Atlanta, the team that just got obliterated by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Jameis, you made me look good on the air.
No, not really. We didn't really defend Jameis all that much, but dude threw 2 ugly interceptions and then 1 terrible decision, but a good throw that turned into a 71-yard touchdown. But that's beside the point. We're talking about Carson Wentz, the one stealing money from the Philadelphia Eagles organization right now. Doug Peterson, Carson Wentz, Alshon Jeffrey, whoever it is, something has to be fixed. Your defense is not that good.
Is bad.
But they have been doing their job. The past 2 weeks, you have played offenses like the Patriots, which frankly have been in decline, but that's beside the point. And then Russell Wilson. Very confusing. Easy to get confused.
Good players.
Both very good players, easy to get their names confused. And held them both to 20 points or less. Seahawks to 20 points. Patriots to 17 points. And in both those games, you score 9 points or less. Actually, I think they managed to get a touchdown in garbage time. So I think it was 20-13. But 6 actual points when it mattered. I know this is sounding like a rant. I'm not even an Eagles fan. But something's got to give. Either it's Carson Wentz or it's Doug Peterson. Maybe both of them were one-year wonders. We honestly don't know. Just the fact that not helping your defense out. And I've known this for the longest time. Again, Packers fan. Offense was the only thing we had. When the defense was playing well, you had to answer. The offense was the only thing we had to work on. And look at the Jacksonville Jaguars the year they went to the AFC Championship game. What did they have? A defense. A very good defense. A top-tier defense. Who is their quarterback? Balake Bortles.
Guess what he did to Baylor? He beat them.
Where did he play?
University of Central Florida. And he beat us in the Fiesta Bowl where we had I believe it was a 24-point lead at halftime.
Was that RG3?
No.
Oh.
It was Bryce Petty.
Okay.
You don't know who that is because
I know what Bryce Petty is.
You didn't know who Baylor was because you love your Ohio State Buckeyes.
I do like my Ohio State Buckeyes. You know why? Because I'm from Ohio. It's a law. You must root for the Buckeyes if you're a law. You must root for the Browns or the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's only people in Kentucky that root for the Bengals. But back to the Eagles. You keep getting me distracted. Are you gonna be a one season wonder? You got to the Super Bowl. You won the Super Bowl. You dethroned Brady. But the same thing happened to the Rams. The only difference is the Rams didn't win the Super Bowl. But they've fallen off a cliff. Something's got to give. Your running game has been atrocious. Your offensive line not protecting anything. But not just that. Carson Wentz, you're missing easy throws. And I'm played quarterback. Obviously not the level you're playing. When you're not on, you're not on. But you can usually fix that within a week. Or you sometimes within a game. Just get some easy throws in there. But some of these are just out routes that you're just missing. Like, dude, your fans are relying on you. And the NFC East is still in play. But you gotta fix something. And now for the Cowboys.
You done?
Dak, the same thing goes for you. You gave me my time to respond. I am claiming my time. I still have my time.
All 20 minutes?
Dak, same thing goes for you. And I feel like they're like sitting right in front of me. I have to give them an emotional, I have to give them like a pep talk or whatever. But seriously, same thing goes for the Cowboys. You have all this talent around you. I'm sorry, I am not amusing the Grandmaster right now. Grandmaster is not amused.
No, I just have something to add about the Philadelphia Eagles. That's very important.
All right, then go with it. Butt in whenever you want. I'm not gonna completely cut you off.
Carson Wentz against the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh boy.
He did not have a single starting wide receiver out there.
But he still had
It doesn't account for the fact that he was atrocious. But maybe wide receivers don't get hurt and get healthy. Also, Nelson Aguilar, why is he on that team?
Conditional hands.
Why is he on that team?
Occasional hands.
Because last week against the Patriots, Carson Wentz, he's been playing awful this entire year, but he put a throw right on the money in the back of the end zone that would have won the football game for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, we're trying to tie the game.
What did Nelson Aguilar do, RJ? What did he do?
He dropped it.
He did. He dropped the football.
Difficult catch, but one a professional receiver should make.
If you're making over $10 million a year and you get a ball right here,
It was
right here. You need to make that catch every time.
If the ball touches your hands, you're.
And the fact that he's been dropping catches like this, the ones that I drop in a pickup football game, then why are you even playing in this league?
And I can understand the fact that you would struggle when you don't have your star receivers on there. Not having your trusted guys really sucks. But just missing half these throws are not his receiver's fault. They're not being dropped. I mean, some of them are. But missing easy out routes, overthrowing them, and you still have Zach Ertz. If he's not number 2, he's high on, probably at least top 5 as far as tight ends are concerned.
But some defensive coordinators, they're saying, hey, we know that you want to throw to Zach Ertz. We're gonna double team him.
And even Dallas Goedert is up and coming. He's a really good look. It seems like Carson Wentz is not looking past the offensive line and is just looking at the guys that are lined up right there.
Carson Wentz has a problem with either trying to take the check down when the deep ball's open and then trying to get the deep ball when the check down is open. He is not reading the field very well, and it is hurting the team. And honestly, I know they have an easy schedule coming in. They get the Dolphins, which is helpful.
You have the Dolphins. You have the Redskins coming up. You can fix it against a bad team, so try to get in the playoffs against some good teams. And then you go into the playoffs like you're going now.
That game against Dallas will be the determining factor in this division, and it will all depend if Carson Wentz is ready to play. And if he's not, then Dak will win.
As we recall last week that we made our division picks, and both of us picked the Cowboys to win that division. But as we said, it's kind of too close to call. A lot can change in that amount of time.
Yes.
Both the Cowboys and the Eagles are struggling severely on both sides of the football.
Yes, they are.
Not as much the Eagles on defense. The Eagles defense is playing very well. And surprisingly enough, against two really good offense. Well, the Patriots offense is not playing well.
The Patriots offense does
but,
not have
I mean, when your only touchdown pass is Julian Edelman, you kind of did your job.
They don't have very many weapons, and hopefully they can get, not hopefully because we don't want them to be good.
A good quarterback is able to make your team better. Carson Wentz.
A 42-year-old Tom Brady is doing his best.
I'm saying, NFC East quarterbacks, whether it be Carson Wentz, whether it be Dak Prescott, whether it be Dwayne Haskins, and Danny Dimes.
My boy. He has no
luck either. You guys are not playing that well. We'll give the benefit of the doubt to the two rookies. They're off the table right now. It's their rookie season. They get a pass. But you two Two veterans. Mine to me only like 3 years. Two veterans. You're just playing like scrubs right now, dudes.
Oh.
Like Mitchell Trubisky scrub. I didn't even think that was possible.
You're over exaggerating because even though I have my issues with Dak, his passing yards are way up. God Almighty, his passing yards are way up here.
Let me give you this diagram where you can't see exactly what I'm doing.
And his touchdowns are way up here, but his interceptions are a little bit down here at 10, and then you have your chokes in the other games.
Yeah.
But anyway, he is on another level than Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is down here. I am in big
definitely
trouble.
below him. Yeah.
But
his job should be in trouble.
But I think Dak Prescott does not deserve the $30 million or the $40 million that he wants. I think that he is in the line to get maybe 20.
Are you still on the tank for a quarterback in the draft?
Well, I mean, if they can't figure this out, then possibly. But at this point, it might be too late because they've won too many games. Either it's a quarterback problem
or Kellen Moore just isn't doing his job as far as quarterbacks. Because Kellen Moore obviously was a career backup. He didn't know too much about, obviously he knew how to play the position, but he didn't play well enough to start. Are we seeing Dak Prescott as maybe just being an overhyped career backup?
Possibly.
Like a Josh Johnson?
Possibly. I'm not Josh Johnson because I don't know. I think Josh Johnson is a scrub.
Josh Johnson played really well last year, not going to lie. You take over for Mark Sanchez, and you have no expectations to do play like Ryan Fitzpatrick last year.
I think you should go back and look at the numbers, my guy.
All right, that team has just been terrible forever.
All right, I don't think a touchdown and 5 interceptions.
Dwayne Haskins played well, and by well, he didn't have a touchdown, and he had a terrible completion percentage. That team is just so bad that winning a game by any means necessary is considered a positive.
I guess so, and it came to the point where he was taking selfies, and they had to trot out Case Keenum to take the final
Poor
knee.
Case Keenum, he gets that call like, "Hey Case, go in and finish Dwayne's game." Bet you couldn't win this game.
Jay Gruden's that had the job.
Poor Terry McLaurin. Poor Saquon Barkley.
Poor Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah. No, not Zeke. Zeke is his team. And so is Saquon, but Saquon, your career is over if you stay in New York.
You know what?
Follow OBJ's lead. Get out of there as fast as possible.
You know what? Poor Todd Gurley because his knees are shot. He's the only running back who we should actually feel sorry for.
He's one of the few guys where he literally would hate his body. Other running backs would like their body because it's like the one reason they're being successful. They keep themselves in shape, but you can't do anything about arthritis.
No, you cannot.
And it's going to hinder one of the best running backs to play this game from putting up his numbers and honestly helping his team out a lot. That's sad. And all respect out to you, Todd. You've done well. You did well for my fantasy team last year. You're not doing so well this year, but yeah, I appreciate your service.
Do you want to talk any more NFL?
I think that was all. I would think that was all the NFL. The only other topic we would have is Jameis. We ripped on Jameis a lot last year. A Buccaneers fan that I know saw this and was pretty thought the Jameis stuff was pretty funny, and they even say the same thing. Like Jameis, terrible decision making.
He is a stat stuffing machine with a turnover.
Define stat stuffing because the touchdowns are not there. The picks are definitely there.
What about
It's just yards.
The 20 touchdowns that could be up by 35, maybe. But also it could be 30 interceptions. Now we might see a 4,500-yard season with 35 touchdowns and 30 picks.
Now here's the thing. His completion percentage would be probably close to 90 if you include the 19 passes that are interceptions as completions.
Right.
Like his completion percentage skyrockets when you start adding completions to the other team in there.
I just want to know what goes through his head when he's dropping back to pass.
All right, here we go. All right, I got wide open receiver right there, and I'm just gonna go through
I'm just gonna
see what happened went through Jameis's head when he threw that second interception against the Falcons. I was like, oh shoot, I gotta start moving. Oh, I gotta check down right there. Intercepted.
A little behind the.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Jameis, your decision making's not that good. And take it from a guy who had a lot of struggles with his decision making, the first time he started playing.
Well, at least he beat the Falcons. I mean, we kind of hyped up the Falcons, but
we hyped the Falcons saying they were going to run away with that game, and they got smacked.
Wrong.
Wow. By the way, you want to go Rays picks were like 4-6 this week. I think I had probably close to. I don't know. Let's go through. I gotta want to see what our final pick.
Look, here's the thing. I could have 4. I could have 1 pick, but if RJ is miserable, it's a great day because as you know, I gave the Packers every reason to lose that game, but I picked them out of sympathy for this man right here.
We are such great friends.
And guess what? They lost by that. And we might even have to change the name of the podcast to Aaron Trashcan, because that's what he looked like last night.
Dude, I know that.
So let's move on before we get off topic. Do you want to talk about Nick Foles briefly, or go on to
talk about Braun, the NFC South?
Also, I didn't even get to say my joke. I totally forgot about my joke.
Oh no.
So let's go back to the notes because I took notes. He is not prepared as usual.
I've been talking and making some pretty good arguments. Based
he
on
is not usual.
So.
But so I was thinking. I'm like, man,
as I see it.
I'm like, man, the Green Bay Packers are now the Gray Bay Packers. You know why? Because he can't even see the colors to begin with, so everything is gray.
God.
And also because their offense is bland, disgusting, predictable, exposed, and they are garbage. So until they can figure it out and actually Aaron Rodgers can be the bad man that we know him to be, they will be the Gray Bay Packers from now on.
You know what's funny? Is that this is all 1 week. This score, even though it's bad, is 1 week.
I remember.
Think back to 2 years ago.
I remember.
We lost to the Tennessee Titans in Nashville, 45-24. Lost the following week to the Redskins. And you know what? Went to the NFC Championship that year
And lost.
Took down.
To guess who?
Took down the Cowboys.
Who did you lose
the
to?
13-3 Cowboys in their own stadium.
Who did you lose to in the NFC Championship?
The Super Bowl chokes.
The Super Bowl chokes. Who were those? Would you please tell the public at home?
The Atlanta Falcons.
Oh my gosh.
The Atlanta Falcons when they were still good. You know, MVP Matt Ryan. You know that.
Hey, Matt Ryan, like I said, they've not been the same since Kyle Shanahan went to San Francisco. And we all know what San Francisco is now. And Kyle Shanahan is still their head coach. But that's neither here or there.
Here's what I'm saying. You're talking about this trash against the Packers. Here's what I'm gonna say. The game yesterday was atrocious.
You mean the Gray Bay Packers?
Any game that shows this score is atrocious. But you know what? We scored more points than the Rams did. And we didn't give up as many points as the Rams did. So, you're not calling them the Los Angeles Blands, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't care about them. I only care about your Packers.
Here's the thing. Way easier schedule coming up. This was our hardest game for the rest of the season.
We'll see
A ton of easy games coming up. The hardest game we got left is on the road against Minnesota.
That might be a loss to First Cousins. I might even pick them. I will be picking First Cousins, actually, because of this back here.
Watch us drop 40 on the Giants. That'll be fun.
Oh, the Giants. Wow. That's
exactly.
impressive.
Playing a bunch of bum teams. The season's not over because we got a ton of easy games coming up. It's not our fault we're in a division full of scrubs. Feeling like the Ravens out here. But anyway.
Let's talk basketball.
Yeah.
Before I tell you.
Speaking of basketball, Cleveland Cavaliers fan. So you want to talk about sucking. I honestly, hold on, wait a minute. Are you guys ready for a genuine reaction? I was keeping tabs with the Cavs game earlier. It was tied at 106 against the Brooklyn Nets. I don't know how it ended. I'm pulling it up right now. I'm about to find out.
Was Kyrie playing?
We lost. 108, 106. They found a way to win. It's probably some buzzer beater, and I'll have to look at that later.
Kyrie wasn't even there to serve them that hot.
I know.
That's unfortunate.
The Packers have been the only team I've been hammering hat. Oh, honestly, like Ohio State, Baylor, and the Packers have all been playing well. As far as basketball is concerned, I root for a ton of good players. Clips, I like the Clips. I like Kawhi. I like Paul George. I like the Lakers. Really big LeBron fan. Obviously, being a Cavs guy, he did a lot of good things for us.
He did all the good things for you.
Basically, Giannis, huge Giannis fan. Like, I love watching that guy play. The ferocity is something that I have not seen before.
Overrated. Kawhi locked him down on one leg. That's neither here or there. Keep going.
He's probably one of the dudes that thinks Kevin Durant's better than Giannis. Post in the comments, who do you think is better? This is a heated debate. Giannis versus KD. Now we don't have KD this year.
Do I even like
thankfully.
KD? You don't even know if I like KD.
I don't know. Do you?
No.
Okay.
I think he's a snake
I don't know
and
how
not
you can,
even good.
I don't know how you can say Giannis is
He
overrated.
hopped
though.
on the bandwagon.
He's a freaking MVP last year. You're gonna say he sucks?
I just know that Kawhi locked him down on one leg. That's all I know.
You're sounding like Skip Bayless right now.
Skip Bayless hated Kawhi until a few weeks ago. I don't know what you want from me.
It sounds like Skip Bayless say, "Well, this dude's MVP, but Kawhi was there to lock him down."
Skip Bayless didn't even like Kawhi. He was a hater for him quitting on the Spurs, as he said. But like, dude, I like Kawhi.
Alright.
He handles his business. But anyway, let's hear it. Who is your MVP? And please don't say LeBron because I really want to argue LeBron.
Well, that's honestly the guy that's standing out. Honestly, all right, here we go. If you want me to counter that, Luka Doncic. And when the one duel we've seen between Luka Doncic and LeBron, they both put up triple doubles.
I think LeBron won that game.
They did.
Oh,
Danny
he
Green.
did.
Yeah, Danny Green.
Oh, that was
Danny Green helped them out a lot. That was a great game. Watched the entire thing. It was a fantastic game to watch. And Bron dominated in the end, him and AD. But as far as Luka Doncic is concerned, dude, are you kidding me? Dude just put down the Rockets.
I can't believe
on the road.
that you had literally anybody and you took Luka Doncic.
Who else? Giannis hasn't been playing at that high a level
He
so
dropped
far.
50 tonight.
Wait, Giannis did? Sorry, I haven't looked at all the NBA scores. It's still
Bro,
it's still
you
NFL
see this?
day.
These are notes. He doesn't have any. This is why I beat him down on a regular basis, and it's only been 2 episodes. Keep going. Next question.
You were the one asking the questions.
Our next argument, I'm sorry.
Luka Doncic is putting up incredible numbers right now. Dude, it's averaging close to 35 points, I think. I kind of wish I had a stat line on this.
It's not 45. It's like 30.
I said 35.
Okay, well then you're more spot on to what it was actually. Keep going. My apologies. I'm sorry.
And at this point, before the season, I said the Mavs were going to be a playoff team. They got KP back, and we thought it was going to be KP's team.
Unicorn.
All the Unicorn's done is take more attention to himself, and it's freed up Doncic to go absolutely insane. He's gone straight up gangbusters this entire season, and I honestly think, yes, LeBron is playing a fantasy season, and I will not argue against LeBron. Big LeBron fan, LeBron is playing some fantastic basketball for being, 16 years in the league and being 36 years old.
17.
17 years in the league, 30, is it 38 or 37?
He's 36.
All right, either way.
Playing
Playing lights out.
Fact check both of us because it might be 35.
But that's not really that big of a statistic.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in his 30s. He's playing some great basketball.
Yes.
That's really the only thing you need to take away from that. But if you're gonna list another name to put second in the race, it's Luka Doncic. Plain and simple.
I would take James Harden.
The one that Luka just beat.
Even though
The one that Luka just beat. The one that Luka just beat.
Reclaiming my
The
time.
one that Luka just beat.
I let you speak for. I let you speak for most of this.
The one that Luka just beat.
For most of this show, I've heard your garbage Eagles argument. I've heard your garbage pity fest for this back here. James Harden, even though I hate him because his game is literally jack up 3-point shots and shoot 18 free throws a game.
Oh, you mean the one that Luka beat?
Luka lost to LeBron.
Luka beat James Harden.
It was
that means
it doesn't count.
James Harden's going to beat LeBron.
Even though James Harden is averaging 40 a game. 40 a game. But anyway, take him over Luka. I take Giannis over Luka. I would take... Man, there are so many really good players. I mean, not Karl-Anthony Towns anymore. He has a great start, but he's fallen off a little bit.
Would you take Kawhi or would you take PG the way PG's
I would not take Kawhi because Kawhi's not playing any games because he likes to load manage.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Luka's definitely in the MVP conversation, but I would say his only down factor is he doesn't play any defense. He's a liability on defense, and literally... A player on the Clippers, I believe it was it was Lou Williams. I think he said, well, our game plan was passing the ball to whoever had Luka on them. And it worked. They won the game. But anyway, I would say LeBron. And here's why. I watched the fourth quarter of the Lakers and Spurs game. It was my Spurs. I'm a Spurs fan. They're not doing very well, but I still stand by that they will improve just enough to make the playoffs
And
as an eighth seed.
And I stand by my
As
statement
an
where
eighth seed,
I had them ruled out of the playoffs.
as an eighth seed, they will figure it out. But anyway, they were up 86. Not up. They were down by 4 to the Lakers, 86-82. LeBron had the first 11 points in that fourth quarter. 3 straight 3-pointers, which totally buried the Spurs, and then he bullied DeJounte Murray all the way to the basket for an easy and one. That was the game right there. But he didn't stop there. 26 out of the 28 points scored in that fourth quarter were either scored by LeBron James or assisted by LeBron James. And the only points that were not was after he was subbed out and they put in the scrubs. So not only he had ended the game with 33 points, 3 rebounds, not his best rebounding, but you have Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, DeMarcus Cousins if he ever comes back. Like, he doesn't need to rebound anymore. They've got that.
It's gonna be a double king.
But anyway, 33 points and 13 assists. And he assisted and scored. And he assisted and scored on all but one basket in the fourth quarter. Completely took that fourth quarter over. The Spurs could not match him because they do not have a superstar on that team. And that's what they are missing. I said it in the offseason. The Spurs need to get a superstar. DeMar DeRozan's okay. LaMarcus Aldridge is past his prime. DeJounte Murray's an upcoming star. But they need someone to come in. I said Bradley Beal. I think Bradley Beal would do wonders for this team as a 3-point sniper.
You have Rudy Gay that's helping being a block to help with your team.
Yeah, he's a good defender, but he's also getting old. He has a lot of injuries.
Good scorer though.
But they're one guy away. But as we saw last year, the Spurs started off very slow last year as well. But they made it to the playoffs and went to a Game 7 against a very talented young Nuggets team, putting out basically Derek White. They literally running the offense through Derek White, who the year before was on the G League with the Austin Spurs. So that is the ceiling of last year, and they have improved their roster. Obviously, it's not good right now, but I think they can turn it around because they have the talent to be a good defensive team with DeJounte Murray, LaMarcus Aldridge, DeRozan. They have Carroll, DeMarre Carroll, I believe, who's a good defender. Rudy Gay is a good defender. They have the ability to be a good defensive team, but they're just not showing it. But overall, LeBron James, believe he's averaging like 26 points. His rebounds have probably dipped a little bit after this game, so maybe 7.5 rebounds and close to 15 assists this year. And at age 17, Luka, it's all fine. You're doing a good job. You're doing a good job, man. But like, LeBron is also like top 5 in defensive win shares, which he hasn't been since Miami Heat days.
I will not argue any of the points against LeBron because honestly, if LeBron wins the MVP, it's good for me. If LeBron wins the finals, I don't really care because that's really. I don't hate LeBron. He left the Cavs.
LeBron waltzed to the finals 11 straight seasons, and then you had people like Skip Bayless being rude.
No, he only went 8 straight years. If he would have went 9, he would have beaten Bill Russell's record. That's the thing. But then he had the scrubs in the Lakers from last season that were anchoring him down. But now he's got the squad, and it's turning into a big season.
And now I believe they're 15-2.
15-2, yeah. They only have lost to the Clippers, and I do not know who else they lost to. I think it was a bum team.
They lost to the Raptors.
Okay, well, that's not really a bum team.
But also, the Christmas Day matchup is looming. Clippers-Lakers. Who do you have?
Clippers-Lakers.
Very, very, very quick. Very quick. Who do you got?
First game of the year, Clippers won it by 10. I think they win it again, but by 5.
I got the Lakers in a blowout.
A blowout?
A blowout. I believe LeBron will be angry.
Well, here's the thing.
Real quick. LeBron will be angry. He will dunk on Kawhi Leonard. AD will get his 25 and 10. It will be a blowout. Book it. I'll see you I will. We'll talk about it. I'm sure.
Also, you have to account for the fact that Paul George will be playing.
That is totally fine.
They beat the Lakers without Paul George last time. That's a huge dynamic, a defensive dynamic, and an offensive dynamic. If you watch the game, the last Clippers game against the Rockets,
Lou Williams carried that team. Let's not.
it wasn't just Lou Williams. Like, Paul George hit a massive three, Lou Williams hit a massive three, then Kawhi hit the game winner. And then they managed to D-up Harden.
That's pretty easy to do.
Defense. Clippers preach defense. The Lakers are flashy. They play defense well. But when you have a team like the Clippers, that's nothing but defense. It's kind of hard to get past that. It's the first time we'll have a defensive team.
Let's not forget that the Lakers were that LeBron and AD were still trying to figure out how to play together. I believe they figured it out.
They're not figuring out anything.
They figured out a lot since that beginning of that home. I guess it was an away game, but it was really a home.
It was really a home game. But same
like,
thing at Christmas Day. It's probably going to be Staples Center in Lakers colors. But it's not going to be.
What are the Lakers colors? Are they purple? Are they yellow?
Purple
are they red?
and yellow. The reason I know it's purple is because I've been told. I probably couldn't tell it myself. But anyway,
that's tough.
That is all we have for tonight, folks. I am RJ Rennie. Ignore what you see on the board here. We will rebuild. This is the Grandmaster Presswood Nickens, and we thank you for joining us for episode 2 of Dinkin and Dakin. So long, and keep dinking, dackering, and bickering. We'll see you next week.